Today, we're diving into a story of incredible resistance, unchecked colonial ambition, and one of the first and most forgotten genocides of the modern age. It's a really tough but absolutely crucial piece of history that, for way too long, has been kept in the shadows.
Think about this. Right at the dawn of the 20th century, before the world even had a proper name for this kind of crime, a genocide had already been carried out in the vast, dry landscapes of southern Africa.
And this wasn't an accident. It was a systematic, deliberate act of destruction. And yet, what's so wild is that for more than 100 years, this history was almost completely erased. It became this silent chapter in the brutal story of colonialism.
Okay, so to really get what happened, we've got to rewind the clock. We're going back to the late 1800s, to a place called German Southwest Africa, which we now know, of course, as Namibia. And right here, this is the heart of the conflict. You see, for the Herero and Nama peoples, land wasn't just dirt, it was everything. It was their identity, their history, the memory of their ancestors. But for the German colonists who were just arriving, land was something totally different. It was just a commodity, a resource to be taken, owned, and used. These two ways of seeing the world, well, they were on a collision course.
So this takeover wasn't some big, single event. It was the slow, relentless squeeze. There were these deceptive treaties, often in German, which local leaders couldn't even read, and they were always backed up by military force. Land was systematically grabbed, and cattle, the absolute lifeblood of the Herero economy, were taken. Whole communities suddenly found themselves pushed to the very edge of their own homeland. You can just feel it building, right? A breaking point was coming. And that kind of relentless pressure, well, it can't last forever. Years of quiet suffering were about to explode into open and frankly desperate conflict. Led by Chief Samuel Maharero, the Herero people decided they had to fight back. And let's be really clear, this wasn't just random chaos. It was a calculated act of resistance. They were attacking German military outposts and settler farms in a desperate bid to reclaim their land and their future.
This uprising completely blindsided the German colonial forces. So Berlin's response was swift, and it was brutal. They sent in a new commander, a man hardened by colonial wars, whose name would go down in history for all the wrong reasons, General Lothar von Trotha. He arrived with one single terrifying belief, that you could only rule African people through absolute terror. So after a key battle, von Trotha issued this chilling decree. This document, his annihilation order, is the moment everything changed. This was no longer a war to suppress a rebellion, no. This was now a stated, official policy of extermination. With that order, a true